Right, that's what, yeah, Mishnah. Can we make a seam tonight on the third parak? And then we continue with the Yuchsin. Zok the Mishnah. Yes, Rav Tarfa Noimer. So again, we've been talking about mamzer, right? How do you make a mamzer? So mamzer is any chiyuv karis or misa. So a baby that comes from that is a mamzer. No, mamzer is ruined forever. You can't come to love with kahal forever. Right? So now, is there any way to fix that? So we have machlokas tanoim. If there's a way to fix becoming a mamzer, there is a way to be matar mamzerim, right? That they would be able to, they'll be able to marry in ketzad. Mamzer shenasa shivcha. If you have a mamzer who marries a shivcha, so what's with the vlad? So we said the vlad always goes after the mother. When you marry a goy or a shivcha, the vlad is a mother. The vlad goes after the mother. So if a mamzer marries a shivcha, so then the vlad is an eved, shichuru, and then when they free the eved, nimtza haben ben chayrin. The kid is a ben chayrin. So to fix the actual mamzer himself, there's nothing you could do. Right? That's what the Gemara in Chagiga that says. What's a mu'uvis, an avera that you can't fix, is mamzerus, and also missing his man kriya shema tefillah. Right? So the mamzer himself you can't fix, but he could theoretically have kids who can be fixed by marrying. The mamzer marries a shivcha, the kid takes the yichus after the mother, and then you free the slave, and then when you free a slave, that slave becomes an automatic yid. So then, I mean, there has to be a gerus process, but it becomes a yid, and that's it. So that's how the mamzer fixes himself, fixes at least his kids. Rabbi Eliezer, I raise a eved mamzer. No, doesn't work. He's an eved mamzer. He does not go with this. We'll see in the Gemara what the pshan the machlokes. Fine. So Gemara asks, is he saying lechatchila, or is he saying b'di'evet? Meaning, is he telling you that this is the way to do it? If you're a mamzer, if somebody's a mamzer, and he wants to make sure that he could have kids that will be yidden, right? So we're telling him to do this, or if he did this, it works. Right? So again, or if you did it, so then we say, oh, you know what?
What's the difference?
Can you advise a mamzer to do this?
Or
Meaning a mamzer comes and says, oh, Rabbi, what should I do? I'm a mamzer, my parents messed me up, right? Is there any eitzah for for him there's no eitzah, but tell him, yeah, there's an eitzah for you. Go marry a shivcha. Right? And then do this. Or do we say, no, you can't do this l'chatchila, you're not going to marry a shiksa l'chatchila. If you did, we'll tell you, by the way, there was a bonus. Right? Yeah. So that's the shaila. So Tashima.
Is it mashma from here that a yid having children with a Jewish woman is yotze pru revu?
Why? We don't know why the mom.
What would be the point of saying lechatchila? He can't marry Israelis. So if you're telling him lechatchila to go marry a shivcha,
I don't know if it has to do with a mitzvah pru. Right? I don't know if it's a mitzvah.
So we would tell him.
The guy wants.
We would tell him to marry a mamzeres to be yotze pru revu. So we tell him to have two wives.
Well, you are yotze pru revu if you have a mamzer, correct?
Yeah.
So okay, so then why should this be worse?
The shaila is here. Lechatchila, go tell him to marry a shivcha. It wouldn't help because he's still not yotze pru revu.
Yeah, but maybe for his own.
He still has to make mamzerim. He would still be mechuyev to make mamzerim.
Yeah, he's saying that way.
Yeah.
Okay. Maybe he wants kids that can eventually be part of Klal Yisrael.
What does he gain? To have two kids and then nothing. Then
and a chanami, so maybe he does, and now he'll be able to have a kid who can get married normally.
No, but he still has to be Mekayim Puravu.
Okay, so he'll be Mekayim Puravu also.
So stop after that. What is it?
Good,
What
so
if he
maybe,
want-
yeah.
So why would we tell him to go marry a shifcha?
Because he wants to have kids that can marry into Klal Yisrael for his emotional well-being.
Tell him not to. Well, what does it gain? If he's not
You
yet
tell
to
him not
Puravu,
to.
then he
You
doesn't.
know what I mean? Now you got guys that are guys that
No,
don't
I'm
want to
saying,
leave
how
Eretz
could it
Yisrael
possibly
because
be
of the matzah.
lechatchila?
What?
How could it possibly be lechatchila? The
Well, you
lechatchila should be, if lechatchila, he has to have mamzerim.
And you're saying lechatchila doesn't mean he has to. Lechatchila is if he wants to. He's not mechuyev to.
Puravu is not a chiyuv?
No, but the lechatchila here, I don't think means that we're mechuyev to. He's mechuyev to do this. You're learning that it means that it's a chiyuv to do it.
What does it mean lechatchila? If he wants, I mean, it's already a b'diavad.
Do we advise him that if he wants to have kids that want to marry into Klal Yisrael, do we advise him he could do this eitzah? You're telling a yid to marry a shiksa. I mean, she keeps
So maybe
mitzvahs.
lechatchila is not the right word.
Right. I mean, I'm saying if it really is a true lechatchila, it should be mashma that he's yotze puravu with this.
Well, that's the problem is that it's usher to marry a shivcha. Right? That's what
Right.
Rashi said, the first Rashi in Gemara. Right?
Yeah.
Rashi says, Lo yiyah kodesh be Yisrael. Yisrael kosher, not by mamzer. When it says Lo yiyah kodesh, it's talking about a Yisrael kosher, not by a mamzer. That would be the lechatchila. So therefore, lechatchila, we could tell him he's allowed to do this. Or do we say, no, you're not allowed to marry a shivcha? The Isser and Daraisa to marry a shivcha. If you did it, you happen to have a gain. You happen to have gained from it. Right? That's really the shaila. L'maisi, telling the guy to do an Isser. Or is it not? Can you tell a guy to do an Isser in order to fix something? That we'll see weiter in Gemara. That we're going to see weiter in Gemara.
So my problem is that it doesn't fix anything. Unless he's yotze puravu, it doesn't fix anything. It fixes nothing. He still has to make mamzerim.
Could be. That's fine.
So why would we possibly tell him
Again,
to go marry
because emotionally he wants to have, I don't know, he wants to have kids that could be get in.
Yeah, me too. I also emotionally want to marry
Okay,
a
so then
tell me
that
go marry a shivcha.
Gerson, it seems like this is still going to bother you in around 45 minutes. I don't think you're going to forget about it, so you can bring it up afterwards.
And I hope I hope
you got muted, but yeah, you're muted though.
I hope you're emotionally okay with this.
L'chatchila I am, yeah?
There you go. It's not a b'diavad. All right. Anyways, weiter. So that's the shaila. Can you do this l'chatchila? Right? So Tashema, Amr lo Reb Tarfon. So they said to Reb Tarfon, Tihartes is chorim. This takes care of a male mamzer. Right? What's the problem?
A shivcha is considered a shiksa.
Yes.
So how do you give it to an Eved Ivri? Well, that seems to be a very hot thing. A month ago, just set up all your Eved Ivris with shiksas, and they just pop out babies for you, right? Nobody was bothered by that.
I don't know. Was it an Eved Ivri? We matter Eved Ivri?
Yeah, see.
An Eved Ivri who comes in who was married can be with a shivcha.
Yeah.
If he was married, right?
He was
right,
married before he became an Eved.
Yeah. Correct, right. So, but that's because he's an Eved. Once he's an Eved, so he can marry an Eved.
Okay, a shiksa. You can marry a shiksa. We're talking about shiksas here.
Yeah, it's true.
There's a morphous word, Eved. He's marrying a shiksa.
True.
You see outside of Italian pizza shop. Those shiksas. You're telling me
it's
the
a
guy
little.
can marry. The guy Nebuch embezzled the bank, so now he can marry shiksas. Good. Guys, he's an average still. He's still putting on towels and tefillin, but you tell him you give him a shiksa, so you can have more of it. It's very good. So, Gesher, what do you do with that part of the religion?
I'm completely masking to you. The only difference is that's mefurish in the Torah.
Fine.
That the Torah says mefurish, you can marry a shifta.
Fine.
No, but there, she is not. I mean, she does have to keep mitzvahs, right? It's not like she's a full shiksa. I mean, she is a shiksa. Lamaisa, she still has to keep mitzvahs an Eved has to keep its mitzvahs like an Isha. So it's not like they're total shiksas, right? I think it's more of a chiddush to call them a shiksa. I mean, they're keeping mitzvahs. They could say the other end. 1 second. I'm keeping Shabbos. I'm keeping all these things, and now you call me a shiksa. Right? So, nobody wins. Okay, sure. No, but everybody's offended. Right? Now, I guess everybody is emotionally not well over here.
Okay,
That's what we got. Okay, so Toshima, Amar Leder of Tarfin. So he said there was Tiharta is a schorim. Right? You matar schorim, v'loy tiharta is a nekevus. You didn't take care of the nekevus. Right? Now, what does that mean? So let a nekeva marry an Eved Kanani. Right? So Rashi says it's not the derech for a woman to go running around looking for men and just in order for her to have a kid. Meaning a man will do this. A man will do this. Go marry a shiksa. Okay, no, don't take much convincing to do for a man to do this. But a lady, it's going to be a much more difficult thing. If you're saying that this is a lechatchila, so then let a girl who's a mamzer do the same thing, right? It doesn't seem like the Mishnah discusses that. So it must be that since men do what they do, so we're saying if a man did it, Rav Tarfon says, no, so you have a eitzah, right? Fine. So the Gemara says, Eved ein loy chayes. So we say, no, an Eved has no yichus, right? So what does this mean? So she's not going, there's no yichus with the father at all. So what's she going to do? A nekeva is going to go marry an Eved, right? It's not going to be because there's no shaykhs to the father. It's gonna be with the mother, right? So the mother is a mamzeres. So it's very nice that the father is an Eved, but so what? We go with the mother, right? So there's no way to do it. It doesn't work with a mother. Fine. So Tashima, another the ishpazichne Rav Simloi mamzer hava. Rav Simloi is the guy, the hotel that he stayed in was a mamzer. And Rav Simloi told him, right? Had I known you before you got married, I would be able to be matar your kids. Right? So meaning how? He would have told him to do like Reb Tarfon, and he would have told him to marry a shivcha, and then his kids would be okay. So now if you hold that lechatchila so then the story makes sense. Eliyam of the Eved, my new. So then, if it's the Eved, so it doesn't work. Meaning, how can Rav Simloi tell him, "I would have taken care of you had I known you were a mamzer, I would have told you an eitzah." So that means the eitzah is lechatchila, not b'di Eved. Because if it's only b'di Eved, if the guy happened to marry a shivcha, then how can Rav Simloi take care of him? Right? Again, Rav Simloi told him, "Oh, had I known you were a mamzer, I would have given you an eitzah that your kids at least can marry Yidden." So that means it's a lechatchila according to Rav Simloi. Otherwise, you can't give him an eitzah to do it. It's only the other side is that if you did it, then your kids, then you're a winner. Right? So that's a raya that it's not lechatchila. So Gemara says the mitzvah eitzah, because he could have given him a different eitzah. V'amalei zil genoiv, go steal. There's daven ve'eved ivri, and you'll be sold as an eved ivri, meaning you still have an eitzah, because he can go be a crook, right? He can go be a crook, say I don't have the money, right? And since he doesn't have the money, they're gonna sell him, and there you go, right? Now he'll be able to do it. Right? So that's what he meant by that. So Gemara says, in the days of Rav Simloi, was there such a thing as an Eved Ivri being sold? Ain't Eved Ivri noyig, it was Macha Yovel noyig. The only time you have Eved Ivri is when, meaning that if somebody steals, he gets sold, is when there's Yovel. Right? meaning when we're noyig yovel, which we're not noyig until Roiv of Klal Yisrael lives in Eretz Yisrael, which wasn't even in Rav Sabloi's times. So it must be that Rav Tarfon meant it lechatchila, that lechatchila mamzer go marry a shivcha. Shmamina, that's taka what we hold. And I'm Rabbi Mashmul, halacha Rav Tarfon. The halacha is like Rav Tarfon, that a mamzer is allowed to go marry a shivcha, and then that will free up the kids. I think I've heard of this going on. No, isn't there a Maisa that somebody did this? No, do you ever hear of this? That somebody was advised to do this? I don't know.
You just said there's no shivchas now, so.
No, but you can make one. I think you can make one. There's no Ebed Ivri Bisman if a guy steals that we sell him as a thing. But I think theoretically you can make a shivcha, no? Nowadays? I thought I've heard of somebody giving that eitzah. I don't know what the story was. Okay. Rabbi Eliezer disagrees.
Cleaning lady.
A clean. Yeah. Don't be meyachid with your cleaning lady now, right? Yeah. So Rabbi Eliezer Eved Mamzer. Rabbi Eliezer says no, it doesn't work. The shtick does not work. It's Eved Mamzer.
Rough thing to say 5 minutes before you're gonna have a l'chaim, okay.
Yeah.
It's okay. My cleaning lady's my wife anyway, so it's
after he eats on Shabbos, he could say it.
I hope you're muted in your house.
He will be soon.
So I'm a Rebbe Eliezer. My time at the Rebbe Eliezer. Why is Rebbe Eliezer hold it doesn't work? Tamakra loy. It says loy, right? When it says by the pasuk of the mamzer. What's the pasuk? Hold on. Lo yovay mamzer b'kahal Hashem gam dor asiri. Not even the 10th generation. Lo yovay loy b'kahal Hashem. He should not come, or because of him, they should not, because it's 10 generations later, shouldn't come into the kahal Hashem. Holach achar psuloi. We go over after his psul. So even if he marries somebody else who has a different psul, we still go after the mamzer's psul. Okay, v'rabbanon. Right, and what about the Rabbanon, which is interesting because it's really Reb Tarfon, not Rabbanon, but it must be because we paskin pashtus, we paskin like him, so Mamela we're going to call it the Rabbanon. Hobi Yisrael shenasa mamzeres. That's talking about a yid, stam yid who married a mamzeres. Right, it says to their families, to the houses of their fathers, right? So asaloi afke. So the word loy comes and says no, right? Meaning you would think it goes after the father, and the father's not a mamzer, so therefore the kids are not mamzerim. So the word loy comes to say no, so that the kid is still a mamzer and he goes basu the mother. Okay, Rabbi Eliezer, what's he going to do with that? So Gemara answers, Lama v'gav the kasav l'mishmechazon l'veisam also loy afke. So doesn't loy come and take it out of that? So same thing by Isha v'Yiladeh, Loi takes it out. V'Rabbanan kol vlad b'mei shivcha kananis kivlad b'kemei b'mei behemadami. And the Rabbanan say a vlad in the womb of a shivcha kananis is like as if it's in an animal, right? So therefore the father has nothing to do with it. Right, meaning it's like
surrogate.
As if the man, it's a surrogate. It's exactly what it is.
Like a what? What did he say?
A surrogate. The mother, meaning it's basically like a guy impregnated an animal. However, that would work, right? So he has no shaykhs. The father has no shaykhs, right? Okay. Hadron Allah ha'omer. Yeah. What do you say? L'chaim. Make many more. There you go. Yeah, fine. Now we start with the Yuchsin. So basically the background to this, which we'll see more on Amid Beis, is that when Ezra came up from the Golus Bava was 70 years. At the end of Golus Bavel, Ezra came to went up to Eretz Yisrael. So we know already from previous Gemaras that the Leviim, a lot of them didn't go at all because they didn't want. They liked the easy life in Chutz Laretz. A little bit in Yonah Diyam over here, right? And then he was worried about the whole Yichus issue in Bavel. So basically, what he did is he took all the Psule Yichus in Bavel, and on Amud Beis, Machlok is whether he forced them to come up with him to Eretz Yisrael so that he could keep an eye on them, or they came voluntarily. But whatever it is, he split everybody. He must not have been very popular, but he weeded out or weeded out. Yeah, he weeded out the people that had psul yichus, and then they all came up to Bava, right? And then we'll see more about that on the basis. What?
You unwed them.
He left them wedded to each other, I guess, but not. Yeah. So okay. So Asara Yuchsim Olam. There's 10 types of yichus that went up from Bavel. Kahanim, Leviim, Yisraeli. Okay, that's fine. Kahanim, Leviim, Yisraeli. Chaloli, right? So that's a kohen who's no good. Geri is Gerim. Charuri is Avodim who were freed. Mamzeri, Nesini, Shtuki, and Asufi. Fine. Those are the 10. So Kahanim, Leviim, Yisraeli, Mitonon, Lavi, Zebazeh, obviously. Kahanim, Leviim, Yisraeli are allowed to marry each other. Levi, Yisraeli, Chaloli, Geri, Vecharuri. Those are all mutar and lavis that are also mutar to marry each other, right? You can see he left out kohen there because kohen cannot marry gerim, charurim, chalolim. That kohanim can't marry. Geri v'charuri, mamzeri, unesini, shtuki v'asufi, kulam mutar and lavis abazeh. So gerim, right here you see we go with the shita that gerim are allowed to marry avodim. And Charuri, freed Avodim, Mamzer, Masini, Shtuki, the Suvi, they're all allowed to marry each other. Beilem Shtuki, what's a Shtuki? Kol Shahu Makir, Es Imoy, Veina Makir is of it. Very simple. We have a lot of that in this neighborhood, right? They don't know who the father is. They know who the mother is. I'm not talking about the Yidden, I'm talking about the Goyim. And they have no idea who their father is. They know who their mother is. A Sufi is Kol Shanesaf Min Ashuk. That's a guy that's basically an abandoned baby. And nobody knows who the parents are. That's when an asufi. So shtuki is basically they tell him to be quiet, like he doesn't know who his father is. The mother keeps quieting him down. Right? It's not exactly a compliment to her. And asufe is where nobody knows who his parents are. Abishal hayakar the shtuki beduki. Abishal called the shtuki a beduki. Okay, fine. So sorry, Yosam Allah Mibawal Zak the Gemara. Ma'ir the Tani Alu Mi Bavel. Nisni Halchul Eretz Yisrael, right? Why would you say they went up from Bavel? Why don't you say that they went up to Eretz Yisrael? So when it answers Milsal Gavorche, Kamashmal, and it's coming to tell us something parenthetical. Kidatanya Vakamta Valisa Lamakom Asher Yuchar Hashem Lekech. You get up and go to the place that Hashem chose. The Beis Hamikdash Gavoyim Mikol Eretz Yisrael. The Beis Hamikdash is higher than whole Eretz Yisrael. Eretz Yisrael Gavoyim Mikol Arotzes, and Eretz Yisrael is higher than all other lands. There's a whole shiloh whether this means physically, spiritually, because the way we have it now, it's not, the Beis Hamikdash is not higher, right? Okay, so Gemara says Bishlam Beis Hamikdash Gavoyim Mikol Eretz Yisrael. Hanu Dosiv on Talmud Beis now. Divrei Rivois Bisharechav Kamta Valisa. It says, if you're going to have fights in your cities and your gates, you're going to go up and you're going to go up to the Beis Hamikdash where the Sanhedrin was. So that's how you see that it was higher. El Eretz Yisrael Gavayim Mikol Aratzis Manol Harvin Eretz Yisrael is higher than all other lands. Tesiv Lachein Hine Yamim Baim Neum Hashem Lo Yomer Oid. Let's hope this pasuk taka comes true b'karev. Right? There's days coming that Lo Yomer Oid Chai Hashem Asher Helas B'nei Yisrael Me'eretz Yitayim. Because right now, what do? We always talk about that the Rabbanu Shalom took us out of Mitzrayim. We're no longer going to say that. We're going to say Ki Im Chai Hashem Asher Helav Asher Hevi Azera Beis Yisrael. That Hashem should live. That He took us out from and He brought us to Eretz Yisrael Me'eretz Tzafon Umikol Aratzis Asher Dachtim from Eretz Tzafon, which is Bavel. and all the other lands that we were pushed out to, right? Meaning, Bez Hashem Bekarev, when we have the next Geula, we're going to be praising Hashem always. Hashem took us out of Golus America, Golus Edom, we call this one, right? Whatever, all the Golus, and Mitzrayim is going to be forgotten.
So all the mitzvahs that have to do with Yetzias Mitzrayim, now we're going to...
I'm not sure how it's going to work. That's already a machlokes in the Haggadah. In the Haggadah itself is a machlokes if Yetzias Mitzrayim, we're going to have to remember always or not. Right, but it's not going to be in our main. It's not going to be our main focus. It's going to be our main focus is going to be that we had a geula from this golus that we're in right now. Whatever it is, it says Hasher Hela es bnei Yisrael me'eretz Mitzrayim. So you see, we're from this pasuk that we go up. Then the Gemara asks, "My iri detani alu mi Bavel nisni alu le'eretz Yisrael." Why are you saying alu mi Bavel? Why don't you say alu le'eretz Yisrael? Right, so Messiah Rabbi Lazar, Damar Rabbi Lazar, like Allah Ezra Bavel Acha Asa Kisailas Nikiya Allah, like we was mentioned before. But Rabbi Lazar says, Rabbi Eliezer says that Ezra did not leave Babel until he made it. He sifted his flour. Mamish, he cleaned everything up. Like, so that's a whole shala nowadays. Do you sift flour? Do you not sift flour? From the junk, from the bugs, from the flies, whatever, eggs. So he sifted it good and well to make sure that Babel was perfectly clean and there were going to be no yichus issues. Right? So this pasuk is a raya that he went up from Babel. Fine. So Itmar, the first wide line, Abaya Amar Alu Me'eleim Tanan. When it says Alu, all these people, Mamzerim, Nesinim, etc., they went up on them. They went up voluntarily. Helam Tanan. It says Helam. He forced them to go up. Right? He didn't let them stay in Babel. To come if give the Rebbe Lazar. Right? That we just saw here it's Rebbe Lazar. That he didn't go up from Babel until he made it into clean flour. Va'ala, and then he went up. Abaya, less later Rebbe Lazar. Abaya, who says it was voluntary, doesn't go with Rebbe Lazar. Right? That he goes with the Rebbe Lazar did not force the people in Babel. Rava is later Rebbe Lazar, but Rava does hold the Rebbe Lazar. Right? So Gemara says that's one way. Iba is saying, but the Kuliyama is the Rebbe Lazar. Everybody holds the Rebbe Lazar. He separated them in Babel so that everybody should know who were the ones that are puzzle. When they went up on their own. Right? And why did they go up on their own? Well, their goal was, Rashi says, is okay, here we're done, right? Everybody knows our secrets. Let's go up to Eretz Yisrael. Maybe in Eretz Yisrael we'll be able to hide our secrets. Right? Umar Savar Bal Korchayo Asakenu. And the other one says, no, he forced them to go to Eretz Yisrael so that he can keep tabs on them, or at least make sure that they're, that people are not messing around with the yichus, right? That's the whole issue now in Eretz Yisrael. Well, I mean, the issue over the last few years about the gerus. Who's a kosher ger, who's not? What's right? Why does it make a big difference? Because if you have people running around Eretz Yisrael whose gerus is no good because the Medina or whoever accepts themselves people that come from Europe and just say they're Jewish, you could be messing with the whole yichus of Klal Yisrael. That's why that was such a big issue. That's why Svardim, Syrians, are not Makabel Gerim at all, right? Because they were afraid that people were just becoming Gerim just because they fell in love and they wanted to get married and they really didn't mean it ernst, and they were going to mess with the whole yichus of Klal Yisrael, right? So Ezra was trying to avoid that.
They proved to be right with that Meiser from a little while ago, with the guy they said turned out to be an Arab or this or that.
Yeah. That's yeah. In the Syrian shul in Florida, the fancy Syrian shul in Florida? What's it called? In Aventura?
Safra synagogue.
Safra, upstairs in the Ezras Nashim. Outside, they have a huge copy of the proclamation from the whatever, when they came out with it, with all the rabbi's signatures, that we do not take Gerim. Why they put it outside the Ezras Nashim, I don't know. Maybe that was more of the issue. But, yeah. Anyway, so then the Gemara says, So Bishlam Lamandamar Alu. The one where it says they went up on them by themselves. Hanadam Yehudam Shmuel Kol Aratzis Isel Eretz Yisrael. That we said that that all lands are considered dough when you compare it to Eretz Yisrael, meaning dough is a good thing, right?
Interesting comparison. Interesting mush comparison.
Why? Because
So
the
that's
Isa
what
with
they picked. Flour.
yeah, Enochanami. I don't know. Yeah.
How'd they come up with that, man?
Didn't know about you. They didn't know about season's blueberries. That's what.
Thank you.
Yeah. So that's what it's saying. So it's Isa, meaning it's very strange. It's not meaning you'd think Eretz Yisrael is the holiest of everything, and now we're saying, right? That's meaning that no, I'm sorry. This first sheet that holds all the lands are Isa to Eretz Yisrael, Eretz Yisrael Isa leBavel, right?
David,
yeah.
Because flour is the most important food. It's bread. That's the most important food you have.
Yeah, that's what we live. It's a staple, right? Anyways, he's saying, so it's again, he's saying all the lands are considered Isa to Eretz Yisrael, and Eretz Yisrael is Isa leBavel, meaning Bavel is the best, right? Because Ezra cleared it out, right? Ella Lamandomar Helam that he forced them. So then, what's wrong with Eretz Yisrael? Made the Yadinu, meaning if they voluntarily went up, like we said, in order to hide their yichus issues, so they went up to Eretz Yisrael, right? So then that's why we're saying that Bavel was more pure. You get a shidduch in Bavel, it's more pure to know the yichus because they cleared it out. They went running off to Eretz Yisrael, so Eretz Yisrael is not so great. But if he forced them to come up to Eretz Yisrael, so made the Yadinu, the Gemara says. Everybody in Eretz Yisrael, Ezra would have made sure everybody knows these are the, don't marry anybody from that shul. That shul is the Psul Yichus shul. Right? So the Gemara answers, Nihida Yada Lahudara. Yeah, so that door people would know, but Ladar Achrini Lo Yada, people are not going to know the next door. Because they went up to Eretz Yisrael, so slowly they get mixed in and it gets lost. So Gemara asks, especially the Mandam Alu Hani to Siv Vakabtim Elanahar Haba El Ahava. Right? This is Ezra talking. He gathered everybody to the river by the place Ahava. Ahava or Achava? Right. So the what's it called? Changes it, right? Yeah, it's either Ahava, the Masoret Sashat changes it to a Hey. Our Gemara, at least my Gemara, has that as a ches, right? V'nit nasham yamim shloishim, we were there. V'nach nasham yamim shloishim, we were there for 3 days. V'avina b'am v'koyanim, and then I understood the nation and the Kehanim and Levi le'matzasi sham, and I didn't find any Leviim. That's what we were discussing before. Now this is a little bit sad. I mean, I guess it's apropos for nowadays. He didn't find any Leviim to be able to do the work. Why? So if you look at the Rashi of Avina Ba'am, it's a pretty long Rashi, but we know from the Al Naras Bavel that what does it mean he didn't find Leviim? So Stamazoi Leviim, a lot of good Leviim stayed back in Bavel. They didn't want to come up, and even the older Leviim, all Nebuch, because of Nebuchadnezzar, wanted them to play in the Beis Hamikdash, so they bit off their thumbs. Right? That's why when in the parak of Al Naras Bavel that we're supposed to sing during the 3 weeks and the 9 days instead of Shir Amalas, so in there it says Eich Nashir Ashir Hashem. It's a song of the Daf parents. Eich Nashir Ashir. It's in Rashi though. Eich Nashir Ashir Hashem. How can they do it? Because since they bit off their thumbs, right? So they bit off their thumbs, so therefore they couldn't sing. So whatever it is, he couldn't find Leviim. He couldn't find Leviim to do anything for him. Helum, but according to the Mandama that says Helum, Amizah Zahiri, he knew, right? If he brought them up, why was he going? I mean, sounds like on the way up, I decided to check the yichus of all the people that came up with me by the river. What do you mean? If you hold that he took everybody up, so what is he checking the yichus? He knew it from before. So when answers Nehidas, the Psulim. So yes, that's true that he was careful to make sure who the psulim were. B'ksherim lo yazdar, but by ksherim he wasn't. He didn't know. Meaning he didn't know who the Leviim were. He knew who the psulim were. He didn't know who the ksherim were. Okay. Kahani Levi Yisraeli. Minolan Desligo. How do you know Kahanim and Levim and Yisraelim went up? Tichsiv, Vayeshvu, Hakoyanim, Halvim, and Ha'am, Vasharim, Vasayarim, Vanasinim, Va'areim. The Kahanim, Levim, and others, and then the singers and the people from the gates and the Sinim, they came to their cities. Right? Fine. Chaloli, Geri, V'charuri. So how do we know that they came up? The Chalolim and the Gerim and the slaves that were freed. Chalolim, in all of the time of Yossi, Aimer Gedoyle Chazaka. There's such a thing as such a Chazaka so strong. Shenemar, Bnei HaKoinim, Bnei Chavia, Bnei HaKoitz, Bnei Barzilai. Right? It says the children of all these are the names, right? Chavia, Koitz, Barzilai, Asher Lokach Mevinois Barzilai Gelodi Isha. He took from Barzilai Gelodi Isha, Vayikra al Shemam, and they were called by the name Eila Bikshu Kisvam Hamasyachshim V'loy Nimtzu. They looked for like a ksav, people have a yichus brief as they call it, right? And they didn't find it. But Yigoyelu Mana Kahuna. And then they went into Golus from the Kahuna because they couldn't find their yichus. Vayomer, this is a very interesting name. Vayomer HaTirshasa Lahem, and Tirshasa told them. Right now, who's Tirshasa? So Rashi says Tirshasa is a short for mutter to drink. Right, it's a nickname for Nehemiah, right? Who was the Sarah Mashkim, right, by Dayovesh. Since he was the Sarah Mashkim by Dayovesh, he had to drink the wine before being served to Dayovesh because to make sure that it's no poison in it. What's the heter? It's yain nesech or stam yainam, whatever it is. So that, but they mattered him. Obviously, it was a shas hatcha gadol, so they mattered him. So therefore, his nickname, I guess it's called a nickname, is Hitir Shasa. But anyways, that's the Chemya. But Yomer, it's the Shasa lahem asher lo yoichlu mikadosh paidish kedoshim. They didn't eat from Kaddish Kedoshim ad amod kain leurim v'tumim until there was a kain, until the kain had the urim v'tumim. Fine, v'amar lahem, right? So basically, Hatir Shasa, Nehemiah was telling them they're not allowed to eat because until they get clearance from the urim v'tumim. Why? Because they had no idea about their yichus. V'amar lahem harei atem b'cheskaschem. So you're gonna maintain your chazaka, b'maha yisam eichlin b'goyla. Meaning, whatever you ate when you were in Galus Bavel, that's what you're going to eat now. The Kachei Gvul, right? Whatever. So then the Kachei Gvul is really truma because it's only that's what can be eaten in outside of Yerushalayim. Afkan nami b'Kachei Gvul. So too b'Kachei Gvul. So whatever it is, you see that they lost their yichus. Again, we have to realize. It shouldn't be too hard for us to realize because we're in Galus, as we know good and well. And the people's yichus got totally lost. They didn't know where they were from, what was coming and going. So they're saying that whatever chazaka they had is what we do. Fine. But according to the mandama that says we use truma for yuchsin, right? So then how are we allowing this? Hani da'achal b'truma asul l'skinu. So basically anybody that ate truma, meaning there's a shita that holds that if you see somebody eating truma, that's like we were discussing the other day. Like if a guy on the tombstone of his grandfather says that he's a kohen, right? If on the tombstone of his grandfather he sees he's a kohen, is that enough of a kohen? So there's a shita that holds it. Well, if the guy knew that his grandfather ate truma, so that's enough. So right, so hani da'achal b'truma asul l'skinu. So then what's going to happen is anybody that's eating truma is going to go up to they're gonna make him go up, meaning they're gonna make him do a kohen. So my answer, Shani Yosem Deriach Kasayu. There was the chazaka got a little bad, meaning everybody knew that it's a disaster because of the golus. So nobody's gonna. Normally, you would say if a guy's eating truma, he's a kohen. He has a chazaka, he's a kohen. Because of the golus, no, I'm going to say that. So if that's the case, and nobody's going to make a mistake, so what's good? What is your chazaka worth? So one answer to make truma d'Rabbanan. They were originally allowed to eat truma d'Rabbanan. When they got to Eretz Yisrael, they were allowed to eat truma d'Oraisa. Right? So therefore the chazaka did help for them. Or you can say a different shot. They were only allowed to eat truma derabanan, v'chi maskinan b'truma liyusin, and b'deraisa. If we only allow truma, eating truma, to work as a raya that he's a kohen, if the guy's eating truma deraisa, b'derabanan le maskinan. But if the only truma you see this kohen eating is derabanan dika truma, nobody's going to make the mistake that he's meyuchis as a kohen. Okay, so again, yihachi mai gedoyle chazaka. Right? What is Gedoyle Chazaka? What else did they eat? So the Meikara Lekal Migzam Shum Truma Deraisa. Meikara, there's no Gezer of Shum Truma Deraisa. The Besaif, in the end, Afal Gav the Ikal Migzam Shum Truma Deraisa, even though there is a Gezer of Truma Deraisa, but the Rabbanan Echal, but the Raisa Layachal, and the Rabbanan you could eat it, the Raisa you can't eat it. So the Gemara says, Vaksiv, asks, Vaksiv, Vayomer, he told them that they can't eat Kodesh Kedoshim. So what does that sound like? The Kodesh Kedoshim hu lo yochel. They can't eat Kodesh Kedoshim, meaning kachim. But everything else they could eat. So what answers Hachikamar. Lo midi the mikri Kodesh. They can't eat anything that's called Kodesh. Lo midi the mikri Kodshim. And they can't eat anything that's called Kodshim. Right? Lo midi the mikri Kodesh. They can't eat anything that's called kodesh. No zar is allowed to eat kodesh. But lo midi the mikri kodshim, and they can't eat anything called kodshim. Da'amakra ubas kain kisiyel ish zar. When a bas kain is going to be to an ish zar, he betrumas kodshim loy cycle. When she's betrumas kodshim, don't eat. B'marmar b'marim min kodshim. This is talking about when they took truma from kodshim, meaning doesn't mean truma, meaning they separated the chazav v'shoik, which go to the kohen. Now we know that when a bas kohen, when she marries a Yisrael, so she stops eating truma, right? But if she gets divorced or she gets widowed, she can go back to her father's house and eat truma as long as she didn't have kids, right? But when she goes back to her father's house, she cannot eat chazav v'shoik. If the father comes back from the Beis Hamikdash with a nice piece of meat, that she can't eat. Once she marries Yisrael, that she can't eat. On Tamid Aleph, so just 2 words, loy soichel, that she's not allowed to eat, because once she married Yisrael, then she's out from that. Right? Yeah. So that's one of the things that he was saying by kodesh. Okay, let's just do one more line. Geri b'charuri. Anybody who's anybody who made themselves Havdalah, they separated themselves from the Tumah of Goyei Aretz. Right? Which means, what's the Tumah of Goyei Aretz? Avodah Zarah. So it means Gerim, that's Gerim and Charurim, meaning freed slaves. They gave up the Goyish life and they became Yidden. Okay, we'll stop over here. Shebasuras Taivas. And you should have a good Vach and a good year.
Thank you.
All right. Sei gesund.
Tiago, how's my boy doing?
Your boy, I didn't see him a whole Shabbos because he was downstairs in that basement building some sort of Lego contraption. He came up for Avdallah. He didn't come up for Shalashudis.
Now, he only came late. But do they want to go to Abba Sabanim or no?
I highly doubt it. But
Okay, so tell him I'm coming to get him now.
I have to go home over there. I came to mommy because it was
by
quiet.
mommy. Gotcha.
I'll walk over there. Now what?
Okay, so I'm leaving.
Rachamim, what is going on with you? Can you talk?
Well, yeah, now I can. I'm in the hospital. Yeah,
Everything
I don't want to be